Today, on March 11, 2011, we have some horrible news to share with you.
Yes, unfortunately, a tsunami has struck the eastern coast of Japan this afternoon, approximately 30 minutes after a 9.1 magnitude earthquake occurred at 2:46 p.m., one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded.
It's being reported in the Iwate Prefecture. The waves reached over 130 feet and appear to have traveled 6 miles inland.
Absolutely devastating. We are now going to visit with our field correspondent in Japan right now to see the source.
Thank you guys. As you can see behind me, there has been a lot of devastation. The Japanese Reconstruction Agency is already working to quantify the damage, but the full extent is not yet known. Even at the higher ground, you can see how high waters have reached. Currently, we are experiencing freezing temperatures, and we are quite unsure of the safety of many of the Japanese citizens. We will get back to you when we know more.
We can only imagine how much destruction will occur in the wake of this tsunami, as it was caused by one of the strongest earthquakes ever to occur.
Yes, to help us understand how much damage we can expect to see, we have called in our expert, Anna.
Yes, hello. I expect that we can see some extreme damage, not only in infrastructure, but also in the amount of casualties that are expected from an event like this. It appears the earthquake was caused by a thrust faulting along the subduction zone plate boundary between the Pacific and North American plates. The earthquake lasted around 6 minutes with several foreshocks and aftershocks, with the tsunami soon hitting the coast. This would have only given Japanese citizens 8 to 10 minutes of warning in the Sendai areas because of the speed of the waves. From this alone, we can expect casualties to be in the thousands and infrastructure damage to be in the billions.
That sounds horrible. We can only hope as many people as possible were able to reach higher ground to escape the intense waves.
Yes, we are hoping.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're getting more breaking news from the scene.
Hello everyone, I'm here to deliver more bad news. As if the tsunami wasn't bad enough, it has triggered a nuclear accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station. This can only make things worse for the citizens of Japan who managed to escape the tsunami.
Thank you, Penny Scoot. Back in the studio, we're going to hear more from our expert about the effects of the tsunami and the now destroyed power plant.
As we are all aware, tsunamis are extremely dangerous, but this one is really like nothing we've seen before. We have confirmed waves up to 130 feet and travel speeds of 435 miles per hour. When waves move this fast, there's only so much time to move to higher ground, especially for those living along the coast. The tsunami has continued traveling east to west and has been washing away evacuation sites along this path. We have already confirmed at least 5,000 deaths and 1,000 missing persons. Now that the nuclear power plant has been destroyed, we can only assume the radiation will contaminate nearby areas, and that the full effects of this disaster will not be fully known for years to come.
We're hoping that all the citizens of Japan will get all the help they need despite the disaster.
It may be difficult for emergency responders to help those in the areas of the tsunami as it is incredibly flooded and destroyed. Now we will speak to our field correspondent and maybe hear from people involved in it.
Hi guys, we have another weather update amidst all this chaos. As you can see around me, it's snowing quite a lot, and we've gotten word that this weather is only making it more difficult for government services to help the people of Japan. We've also run into a tourist who happened to be visiting, and we'd like to get an account here.
Wow, hi. I was just visiting for business purposes and I could have never guessed something like this would have happened. I mean, cell towers have obviously gone down and I haven't been able to reach my family yet. I've been trying to reach everyone I know, but all I've heard is that there's tons of debris coming up and an enormous amount of damage to buildings and homes.
Thank you for that account. We were glad that you were able to get to safety. Back to you.
It's heard that the cost of damages to infrastructure are estimated to be about $235 billion USD.
Not to mention the damage to the environment caused by saltwater infiltration and nuclear fallout.
Very true. Do you think the Japanese government could have done anything to prevent this disaster or be better prepared?
Sadly, there's only so much that can be done to prevent or protect from tsunamis. The tsunami hit land only about 30 minutes after the earthquake, and only seismic monitoring can predict earthquakes, and seismic monitoring is not a perfect technology. Japan is essentially at risk for these types of events because it's located along the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is full of active fault zones. In fact, the Japanese islands were formed because of volcanic activity in this region.
Well, despite plans in place and extensive technology, it seems that no one could have predicted the magnitude of this disaster, or that the earthquake alone would trigger the tsunami.
The seawalls Japan has to mitigate tsunami damage usually do work, but no one could have predicted the kind of waves the most massive earthquake recorded created. It takes a lot to withstand those massive waves, and sadly the infrastructure there could not hold up. As many people as possible were evacuated to shelters, and alarms blared to alert civilians of the incoming tsunami. These safeguards undoubtedly saved many lives.
It seems the best thing they could have done was to have detected it earlier, and therefore warn people earlier. Of course, the nature of the disaster means there's not much warning time, but I do think technology could advance from this point, and that the infrastructure could be rebuilt to prevent future incidents of this magnitude.
We are also getting word that the death toll is predicted to be well into the thousands at this point, and that the owners of Tokyo Electric Power Company and the Nuclear Industrial Safety Agency are being questioned about their preparedness and planning in regards to natural disasters.
Japanese officials are hoping to increase the amount of education that the general public receives about proper evacuation methods going forward. Thank you for tuning into the Granite Girls broadcast. We hope you guys have a great night.